hello, and thanks again for clicking into another edition of Sit Down with Ed Brown. You know, we've had some pretty colorful guests on the show, and today is no exception. Now, you know him from the $10 million Bigfoot Bounty. You've seen his show After Hours with Rictor, and, of course, his new show that just started, Off the RoR. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Rictor Riolo. Hey, Rictor.
Oh, we just had to start off on the wrong foot. Bitch, it's Riolo.
Riolo. Come on, what's the difference? Is there a difference?
You know what? Let's turn this show into Lay Down with Ed Brown.
No, I'm going to remain sitting, thank you.
Hey, you can sit as... I was going to get really dirty.
Okay. Let's,
dirty.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go... Thank you for having me. And yes, it is Riolo.
All right, Rictor Riolo. Hey, you know, I always like to get these things started off by asking, how did you get involved, or how did you get interested in the whole Bigfoot subject in the first place? What was it that got you involved?
Well, even as a kid, I remember watching In Search Of and being scared of the Patterson-Gimlin Bigfoot monster. I remember hiding under the covers. You know, then growing up, being fascinated by it as a teenager, I would read all the books, especially by Rene DeHenden, that little yellow Bigfoot pocketbook of his, Sasquatch. It was my favorite book of all time. I think I read that like 5 or 6 times, back to back, over and over again. Then the internet came around, and the BFRO database and the reporting, the reported sightings,
sure.
Class A and Class B, and was all totally following that almost on a weekly basis. And then, you know, everything evolves. You go from books to the internet, and internet to Facebook. And it's like the domino effect. You know, your involvement with Sasquatch goes from books to the internet to making friends, and then making the decision, well, do I want to take this further? Do I want to be public? Do I want to, you know, make a name for myself? And
sure.
5 years ago, if you were to say to me, hey, Rictor Riolo, you're going to be making videos on YouTube and you're going to be on a Bigfoot reality show, I would be like, what? Really? That was never my interest to do anything like that back then. But like I said, it's the domino effect. So, you know, who knows where my interest in Bigfoot will take me next. Being a kid, being scared of it, and now being an adult not scared of it is kind of like a triumph. Because, you know, when you're, you know, scared of roller coasters and you finally get on a roller coaster and you're like, well, that wasn't so bad. All right, let's do it again. You know what I mean? So Bigfoot, to me, is kind of like that. In the beginning, it's kind of scary because you're out in the middle of nowhere. It's dark. You hear strange sounds, you know, but each time you go out, you are able to step on your fears one step at a time. And granted, there's going to be moments when you get scared out of your mind, but, you know, it's all how you react after you calm down and take a breath.
Sure.
For an example, in the Sierras, I had something behind me in the tree line scare the holy bejesus out of me. And I jumped literally right back into the car where everybody was, and I was like, wait a minute, what am I doing back in the car? You know, because it's your instant reaction to jump or flee. You know, sure. I went right back outside. That's the whole idea of Bigfooting. You know,
right.
So you know,
I think that's a great point. I think that's a great point because you said, you know, you go out and things happen that scare the bejeebies out of you, but you face these things one at a time. As it happens, you become familiar with it. So then when something else happens, you're like, okay, now I'm scared again. And now you're familiar with that, so you move forward. I like that. That's a good point.
I've had a rock thrown at me. I was at the same location. Middle of the night, there's no one around me. I am probably 200 feet away from the car where everybody's at, and a rock is thrown at me on the dirt road, and that creeped me out. And I went running back to the car, and then that's when I heard whatever it was behind me snap a giant tree branch, and that was it. You know, I mean, it's just, you know, it doesn't take much for these things to scare us.
So was this on your Sierra trip that you took, I guess, a little while back, not long ago?
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
yeah.
That's awesome. Now, have you ever had your own sighting? Have you ever seen one?
No, never seen one. I've found a few prints in the Sierras, and when we were filming Bigfoot Bounty, found a print that was really amazing, but it was outside of our boundaries. And because it was a competition reality show, Ed, we could not cast it or do anything with it. And that was very upsetting. It was like, oh, for real? But, could have been made by a barefoot human being? Absolutely. But it was definitely a human-sized type of print in the mud in the middle of the woods near Yakima.
Wow. Well, speaking of the $10 million Bigfoot Bounty, and that's going to be a nice segue into this, how do you, a guy who just, fell in love with Bigfoot when he was little just because of the Patterson film, and then you kind of stay involved, how does that kid end up on the $10 million Bigfoot Bounty?
That's just life. I mean, you never know. Like I said, the domino effect where life takes you. Growing up, I was a closeted, scared, young gay kid who wanted to kill himself when I was 16. And I made a decision that I was going to say, fuck you, world. I'm not going to kill myself because you have a problem with me.
Sure.
So I decided to stand on my own 2 feet. And thank God for Madonna, because back then she was pretty much telling the Catholic Church and the Pope to go fuck themselves. She's an artist and it's artistic expression, and the whole Vatican was coming down on her and excommunicating her, and because of her Like a Prayer video where she was, doing it with Jesus on a church bench with burning crosses and Like a Prayer, so,
sure.
That was pushing boundaries and pushing buttons, and yet she didn't die and burst into flames. Lightning didn't strike her. She continued on and made a name for herself, and that was my role model growing up. So, that being said, Ed, having taken on that approach, F you, to the world, this is who I am, this is what I'm going to do, that led me to Bigfoot Bounty in a way that when Spike TV was casting, they asked, Rictor, you're a gay man, why do you like Bigfoot? And because of me being outspoken, I was able to say, because I like him big and hairy. And, that's true on both fronts. And, if they were to ask me, Spike TV, or to ask me when I was a 16-year-old, why, you're a gay kid, why do you like Bigfoot? I'd be freaked out. I'd be like, I'm not gay. How do you know I like Bigfoot? There's two totally different people here. Right. So our life experiences take you in new and exciting directions that you're not really prepared for, but hey, go for it. Give it a shot. Why not? You only live once.
Well, last year I actually met your partner on the show, Dax Rushlow, and I actually met him, and great guy, by the way. He and I, we talk quite a bit. I guess a little bit here and there, but he's not a big guy.
Well, actually, he is, but height, he's not.
That's what we got to stay on the same page here, Rictor.
No,
but he's a super nice guy. Anyway.
Sometimes you're privy to things that most people aren't when you're partners with someone on TV.
Fair enough. I got to tell you though, as far as the $10 million Bigfoot Bounty, and I don't want to harp on this very long because we got a lot to talk about, but I got to tell you that you were a part of one of my favorite scenes in reality TV history. Can you guess what it is?
Does it involve me getting wet?
It does. Yeah, somebody can't cross a creek, and of course you're out here in a leather coat.
When you're carrying, when you're carrying like 85 to 100 pounds on your back of equipment and photo, it's just, you forget that even though you come to a stop, the weight isn't stopping. It's continuing forward. What's the saying? Force times mass equals acceleration.
Sure.
So just because I come to a stop doesn't mean I'm stopping, and I found out the hard way. So, yeah, it was my first time out in the woods, so I learned.
Sure. And I thought that was pretty interesting when I was watching the show, because you said that on there. You said, I remember you saying, I'm a city boy, I've never been in the woods before. And I remember wondering, like, so why is he on the show? If he didn't have any experience Bigfoot hunting. But
there's two reasons for that, Ed. One, TV. Okay, we're going to take a city boy and throw him out in the woods. Boom, go. So, America watching, not many people have been out Bigfooting before, so I can represent that faction. Then there's also me being street smart, having studied Bigfoot my entire life and followed everything about it in regards to books and the BFRO and all that nature. So, you know, here I'm the book smart guy out in the woods with Dax Rushlow, who's experienced in the woods.
Right.
So he was kind of like my Obi-Wan Kenobi. I told him, you lead the way. You go. You tell me where we're going. I am not going to be like Michael Merchant and Kat McKechnie, who kept butting heads every 2 seconds. You know, you have to, one has to be the dominant Ed, and one has to be the submissive when you're out in the woods, especially if you're in unfamiliar territory. Now, let's say Ed was going to go to a gay bar. All right, well, I'm going to take the lead and show you what it's like going out to the gay nightclub. I would be like, how would you even know what to do since you've never done anything like that? Right. So you have to know when to surrender your alpha male ego. And that's what I did. I'm like, okay, Dax, you lead the way. You show me what's up. What's that? That's a game trail? Cool. What's that? What kind of footprint is that? You know, elk, deer? What's that sound? Oh, that's a bear? Got it. What's that plant? Oh, that's poison oak? Got it. You know?
Sure. And that's how you learn. But I do want to point out that I don't like your analogy.
What?
No, I'm kidding.
If I were to take you and Derek Randos to a gay bar, we would have a hell of a good time.
You know, you're probably right. I'm sure I'd have fun. I mean, I don't drink, so you know, thered really be no reason for me at any bar, much less gay or straight.
Well, they do sell soda.
Soda, yeah.
Do you drink soda?
Tell you what, I will be the designated driver. How's that?
Hey, buy me a drink.
All right. But,
so back to the original question. Dax was the leader in regards to teaching me about the outdoors.
Sure.
So
you guys lasted a little while too. I mean, you know, you definitely weren't the first one gone. I mean, what were you, like the fourth or fifth one, I think, or something like that?
Yeah, we were the first two teams to go were hunters, and then the next team was going to be a Bigfooter team. So we were the third team to go.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So we were on 4 out of 8 episodes, which is cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it would. I would have enjoyed it. I would have had fun. So you get back from your filming with the show, and now the After Hours with Rictor, was that something you were doing before the show, or was that something that came up afterwards?
It was before the show. Originally, After Hours with Team Teaser was the original concept. There was the Extinct podcast that Rosa Hebe, Sean Evidence, Phil Poling, and Michael Merchant did to promote their Facebook group, Team Taser. And I wanted to create something for the fans of Team Taser, which was a very popular group at the time, so that, you know, it could be like the after show, After Hours. And it worked. And we engaged people that were supporters of Michael Merchant and others in Team Taser. And when Team Taser collapsed, I had to come up with a name real quick. There was talk that the Taser Corporation wasn't happy with the name being used, even though it was spelled differently. So Michael Merchant had changed his group to Zen Yeti. And After Hours with Zen Yeti left a really bad taste in my mouth. So I decided to stop promoting other people and to promote myself. And so I put my name on it. It was a rash decision. Okay, we got to do something now. Boom, After Hours with Rictor.
Right.
And then Spike TV happened, and then the rest is history. So.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, your show has obviously been successful. I mean, you are the self-proclaimed best Bigfoot podcast ever.
Well, let's look at this for a second, Ed. Who has? No, let's look. Let's give props where it's due. I've had Matt Moneymaker. I've had Bob Gimlin, Dr. Meldrum, recently Les Stroud, just to name a few.
Yeah. I listened to Les Stroud. I've had Meldrum on as well.
So, you know, bring it, other people. Okay, so who you had on your show? Not you. I'm just saying you, not you.
Sure.
Other webcasts. Who have you had? I think those are definite crowning achievements. Having Bob Gimlin on,
Yeah, that was
amazing.
That was nice. Yeah, I did watch that one as well.
I mean, he's like my Bigfoot hero. That's like, being able to interview Luke Skywalker, being the big Star Wars fan that I am.
Sure.
So, wow. So, that once you reach that point, all right, there's no touching. I mean, I know I don't sound egotistical, but there's no, dude, I have the A-list Bigfooters coming on my show.
Sure.
And the reason why they come on my show is because, A, I make them laugh, I make them feel comfortable, and I don't attack them.
Right.
And I try to make it as enjoyable as possible. And it works. There's something that works. Having Tammy as my co-host, Tammy Murray with her Bigfoot pendants.
Yes.
She's the hardcore skeptic. She is the Renee Holland of After Hours.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. I didn't know she was a skeptic. I thought she was a believer.
Oh yeah. I'm the one that's going to buy your shit hook, line, and sinker. Like, oh, wow. Ed Brown saw Bigfoot and had held hands with Bigfoot. And Ed Brown got DNA from the Bigfoot and is going to give it to Dr. Ketchum. And Tammy would be like, Rictor, he did not hold hands with Bigfoot. Rictor, he is not giving Dr. Ketchum any DNA. Rictor, that's how Tammy is. She grounds me, because I will get carried away and I will go spinning off in a direction and she'll just pull me back. Rictor, look at the facts. Look at the evidence. What does the evidence tell you? So she's not a Debbie Downer. Don't get me wrong. We all need people in our lives to ground you and to make you look at the facts. Because with Bigfoot, you can get carried away, and it's been a long lesson for the two of us. She's been at my side from the very beginning, and we've had co-hosts come and go over the years, and she's a phenomenal force to have on my side. She's like my booking agent. She got me Matt Moneymaker. She also got me Les Stroud. That was all her. Bob Gimlin. Oh my gosh. She and Bob Gimlin hit it off at Beachfoot, and boom, we got them for After Hours.
Right.
So all these names that I dropped earlier, I owe to having Tammy as my co-host. She's wonderful.
Well, I was going to mention that because I watched your show. I don't know. I probably watched a pretty good handful of them, I guess. I don't know how many, but I will say that Tammy's that person who she's not afraid to say, Rictor, shut up, or hey, guest, shut up. She's firm, but she's fair. And I'll tell you, I like Tammy. I've never had the opportunity or the privilege to say hi to her, but you'll tell her I said hello, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Firm.
Hi, Tammy. I'm sure she'll listen to this. Hi, Tammy. So,
yeah, sweetsassyglassy.com for your Bigfoot pendants. So,
there you go.
As seen on TV.
As seen on TV?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had everybody on Bigfoot Bounty wearing those things. Are you kidding? That was great.
That's awesome. I'm sure she does a nice little side business with that, right?
Oh, yeah. She was selling them out at Beachfoot. Are you kidding? She was like, she was, her table at Beachfoot was the popular table, I'll put it that way.
Good.
Yeah.
So now,
to go to Beachfoot. How exciting for you.
Yeah, we'll obviously get to meet there this year. I'm looking forward to that trip. I've not been there yet, but I was excited and happy to have been thought of to go. So I honored.
Then we can really sit down with Ed Brown around the fire pit.
Yeah, that's
That'd
right.
be great.
Yeah, absolutely. And that I know that that's one of those things that you're not allowed to do at Beachfoot. It's no interviews type thing. I guess unless it's something that is pre-arranged and pre-agreed upon. So yeah, maybe we'll do something.
Yeah, you'll have to talk with Todd Neese about that.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so your show, your After Hours with Rictor, what's next?
Well, in Bigfootdom, unfortunately, being the outspoken homosexual that I am, I have received quite a bit of hate mail because of my sexuality, because I have chosen to be open and forthright with my sexuality. People will send me things like, I hope you die of AIDS. You're a cocksucker, and you can bleep all this out, Dan. Faggot, just I get that pretty much on a daily basis. And that comes. Sorry,
Rictor, I'm sorry. I'm going to cut you off here for just a second because I got to say this. Nobody has the right to demean or literally vandalize someone's reputation, and that's exactly what it is. And it's almost assault, and it's like nobody has a right to tell somebody that they're less of a person because of their, doesn't matter, race, religion, sexuality, none of that matters. You're a good guy. I enjoy talking to you online. I enjoy talking to you now. Anybody who says anything like that should probably take a step back and look at their own life first, because I promise you, you take a step back and you look at your own life first before you start attacking somebody else for their beliefs or their sexuality or their race. And I promise you, you're going to find something in yourself that someone else doesn't like as well. And it's wrong. And I don't mean to cut you off, and I'm sorry, but I wanted to say something like this because
I appreciate it.
And
the majority of the Bigfooters I have met in person have been extremely loving and embracing.
Sure.
Martino, Derek Randall, Todd Neese, they're like brothers to me. They're extremely loving, just to name it off the top of my head. I've been very fortunate, especially with the way I flirt with Bart Catino, my husband. So he's been a great pal and has a good sense of humor. And his wife, Kimmy, better hold on to his hands real tight, because once she lets go, boom, I am there. So, Kimmy, this has been a warning. She's got a good sense of humor about it, too. So, anyways, so with all the gay hate that I get, it's just, it gets you down. And do I quit? No, obviously I'm not a quitter. So what am I going to do? All right. The Bigfoot community has an issue with me being gay and shoving my sexuality down their throats, to quote Ron Bowles of the Off the RoR Facebook page. Well then, motherfucker, here is Off the Rictor, where I turn up the gay bar full blast all the way, where I am truly 110% gay and making fun of Bigfooters. All Bigfooters who make videos saying there's a Bigfoot or whatever, game on. This bitch is here with her earrings off and her high heels in her hands, ready to take some names, take some numbers. So game on. So people have a problem with Off the Rictor, it's their own fault. They created the monster, and I'm going to make the money off it. So,
well,
hey.
It's as simple as this. If you like a comedy TV show or we'll say, what do they call those skit shows? I don't know, there's a phrase for it. But a show with like a bunch of skits in it, it's the same thing. You have to be able to laugh. You have to be able, I would say that most people that watched that video at least caught the humor in it. I'm sure there's some people that felt offended.
Oh, it's all over-exaggerated. Totally. Everything's over-exaggerated. And it's meant to be parody and made to be spoof. Whereas After Hours is a serious Bigfoot discussion. Sure. So I could never be Off the Rictor on After Hours. I would never do that to my webcast. But Off the Rictor is a totally different beast, a totally different animal, different type of programming. Whereas my other show I do, Bigfoot Nation, was our Bigfoot experience, our expedition up there in the Sierras, and I turned it into like a little reality show for fun while promoting others in the Bigfoot world, the Bigfoot community. So, there's something different on my YouTube channel for everybody. So if you want something serious, okay, watch After Hours. If you want to laugh and have a drink and cut it up, watch Off the Rictor. And if you want to, watch us and our Bigfoot expedition, watch Bigfoot Nation. So there's something for everybody, hopefully.
Sure. If you like just conversations, listen to my show.
Right. And, it's like...
You forgot me.
Right, there you go. I'm sorry. You promote you. With regards to me, my sexuality, it's like a volume. Sometimes I can turn it all the way up, or sometimes I keep it at a normal level, you know. So it all depends on the situation and who's around me. So, and people are going to already have, when they meet me, they're like, wow, you're tall. Well, how tall do you think I was? Yeah, I mean, do you think I'm a little person? I mean, you know, when Sean 4 years ago, oh, Rictor, you're so tall. You know, people have their ideas in their heads of how you're going to look and how you're going to be, you know, and I'm sure I'll blow your opinion out of the water when you meet me this summer. So.
Well, you know, I mean, I guess there's not very many tall gay people, I guess.
And I'm only 5'11" and a half. I'm almost 6 foot. You know, that half makes the mark. You know.
Well, that actually makes me about half inch taller. So.
And, you know, and in high heels, I'm 6'3".
I wasn't ready for that.
Oh my God, a Bigfoot drag queen. Can you imagine Bigfooter as a drag queen?
All right, so do you have anything planned for the after hours coming up, or are you just getting everything set back up, getting everything ready to go again? I'm sure you've been the time with Off the RoR.
I will tell you what's going on with after hours after we're done recording.
Okay.
So, and because there are those out there with really shitty webcasts that try to duplicate and copy my every move. So, Squatters Lounge. Excuse me. Let's you know, have you noticed, Ed, that there seems to be quite a bit of chemical substance abuse and how am I going to word this? Hold up. There's a tremendous amount of substance abuse within the Bigfoot community. Have you noticed that?
Well, I'm gonna say this, Rictor, that I kind of expected you to say something along those lines, and I pre-planned for this, and my answer is, well, first of all, I've been to the Ohio Bigfoot Conference, which is a great conference, by the way. Anybody who is anywhere near there, you got to go. But I didn't sense any of that there. I'm also including when I say, okay, because there's I have had dealings with someone that's a horrible alcoholic in the Bigfoot world. I've had dealings with, on more than one occasion, with someone that's a horrible drug addict. Is this a reflection of society because society's becoming more marijuana compassionate, I guess the word would be to use, open to, you know, I mean, is society's changing? So is that because of that in the Bigfoot world, you know, and drugs becoming more and more acceptable? You know, I don't know. Maybe am I old school? I see drug users abusing personal relationships and destroying them left and right in the Bigfoot world. We're done recording. I can give you examples later when we're done. So it's just. I guess in my own personal experiences, and you know, I don't drink, I don't do any drugs either. So, but I can tell you in my own personal experience, the people who have been doing drugs already are the ones that are now bragging about it. You know what I mean? If for lack of better words. And so, but I don't think that the problem is getting any worse. I just think that the people who always were, I don't know, closet smokers are now out of the closet, if you will.
Okay, well, I liked it better. It was just gays were in the closet. Now they're coming out. Now we got thieves in the closet. Now they're coming out. Okay. I know.
Did they smoke you out?
That's funny. Yes. Took me out of the closet.
Smoke you out.
You know, at the end of the day, closets are for clothes. So if your thing is drugs, then okay, here's the major issue, dude. If you're not hurting anyone else, then by all means, enjoy your chemical substance. But if you're starting to hurt other people and destroy personal relationships, then it's a problem. And that's where it is with Bigfooting, because you have been Bigfooting. I don't know if you've seen it online. You've been abused online. We were talking about this earlier. You know, it's just add chemical abuse to that, on top of that. And you're dealing with people who do not think rationally, who will harm you and hurt you in ways that normal people would never even think of.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, you're absolutely right. When you start adding drugs and things like that to it, but I guess I'm going to back up for just a second because I want to answer your question. Is I decided that I'm not going to talk about who I think is or who I think isn't or who may be or may not be. To each their own. If somebody wants to ruin their life, that's totally up to them. I prefer not to, and I'll just leave it at that. But that's my feeling on that. So the tokers are tokers. Everybody else is everybody else, I guess. We'll leave, and I'll just leave that at that.
But you know what? Ed? I have seen marijuana smokers get the marijuana doctor's card in California for medical. When it's a full-on lie, they don't have a medical reason for the marijuana. They're just potheads wanting to get the card, and of course, doctors give out the cards left and right like it's a pink slip. Here you go.
Sure.
Pay on your way out. So those that really do need marijuana for their glaucoma or for Parkinson's or whatever it is, that's awesome. That's amazing. I'm glad it's there for you. But then there's those that are chemical substance abusers.
Sure.
And that's every which way of the word. And there's so much of it in the Bigfoot world. Stephen Streufert was telling me about all the marijuana growers up there in Northern California and how you got to be careful when you're going out Bigfooting. That's crazy.
Right.
It's like Bigfoot and marijuana go hand in hand. And I don't ever remember it being like that back in the 70s and 80s when I was reading every single Bigfoot paraphernalia that was out there.
Right.
Maybe it was there and it was in the closet before it got smoked out. Who knows? But I never saw the correlation back then between Bigfoot and marijuana. And Ed, there's occasional marijuana users that smoke it recreationally. I know quite a few of them, and they're not abusing the substance, and they're not destroying their personal relationships. And I see so much of that in the Bigfoot community. It's sad. It's horrible. And they're always the victim. They don't realize that they are the perpetrators. They're the ones that are traumatizing other people.
Sure.
Sorry to get on that tangent, but
no, that's all right. But I'll add that I think you can kind of envision a parallel to what you're talking about compared to pain pills. It was the same thing, and then they put a stop to it. Doctors used to give out pain pills like it was candy. People got addicted to it. It became a big issue. And then the government stepped in and said, okay, now you really got to be in pain, And I suspect the same thing will happen with the cards. At least I hope it does. And, if anyone is out there abusing it, then, shame on them. They shouldn't be.
And here's another facet that we haven't talked about. How many of these Bigfoot reports that are out there are based on these, drug-induced comas, drug-induced, trips?
Sure.
There's hallucinogenic mushrooms. There's a co-star on my show, Bigfoot Bounty, that's constantly eating mushrooms. So who can say what he's seeing is real?
Sure.
So whatever.
I would say, though, that as many sightings as there are, and as far as wide-ranged as they are, as far as they stretch, I would say that problem is pretty minute, at least in my opinion. I definitely wouldn't go as far as to say it doesn't happen. I'm sure it has. But you have to take each sighting individually. When I talk to somebody about a sighting, and I've talked to a lot of people about their sightings, and I've discussed it. And I did ask one guy, as a matter of fact, I even asked him, I said, I'm not saying you were, but were there any drugs involved? And he said, absolutely not. So, I'm not afraid to ask that question. But the one thing, if somebody's out there doing drugs and they have a sighting, you pretty much have to still accept what they're saying. You don't have to believe it. And I think that's a message that the entire community needs to hear, is you don't have to believe someone's story. That is your prerogative. But I I do get kind of sick of looking on Facebook and seeing, I need proof, I need proof, I need proof. Well, you know, that's a pretty crappy way to approach it, because let's be honest, if anybody had proof, then Bigfoot would have already been discovered. So there is no proof. You're asking for something that you know isn't there. So why ask for it? If it's proof you want to hear, then you're just going to have to wait till somebody comes up with a body.
Well, there is also a little compromise, and the compromise is due diligence. Go back to the sighting, do your measurements, you know, find samples that you can take. But not many of these people on Facebook, they just want their shit to be taken for face value. And when it comes to Bigfoot, you can't. You have to make notes. You have to timestamp everything and what you saw and what occurred, and go back to the location and, you know, follow up. Follow up. The burden of proof lies with the person making the claims, not for all of us to bitch and complain about in Facebook social groups. You know what I mean? So
well,
that's a little compromise.
Well, you make a great point there, Rick. I mean, you really do, and I think I need to clarify that, because I may have just kind of made myself look bad.
Never made
I agree. I do agree of the due diligence. You know, I think that if you post something, you have to be prepared to defend it. Don't get me wrong. But while you're defending it, the only thing someone should reasonably ask is, did you go back and take other pictures from the same area, from the same location? Did you take comparables? Did you set up a scale? Did you measure this? Those are the questions they need to ask. Because if they're not doing that stuff, then maybe they'll go back and do it, then bring that back and say, now look at the comparison, okay? But to right off the bat, you see it all the time. You know, well, where's your proof? Well, there is no proof. Nobody has proof. Only proof they have is in their head, because that's what they saw. And so, yes, you're absolutely right. If you're going to present something, you have to be prepared to defend it. So might as well prepare yourself ahead of time and go back and take comparables and things like that before you post it. I agree with that 100%. And I don't mean to make it sound like, you know, anybody can say anything they want and just be expected to buy it. That's not what I meant. Just that don't ask for proof because it doesn't exist anywhere. Nobody has it. That's all. That's my reason.
Have you been privy to photos of Bigfoot that people do not want shared on the internet?
I have seen a couple, not very many. I know that there's some out there that I've heard about, but I have not seen or anything yet, no.
I have seen one that just really takes the breath out of me. It is amazing. It's just, that's what this is all about. And I just wish more people would come forward with what they have, but they're afraid. They're afraid. They see what happens online, and they don't want woo-woos and, you know, crazy people trampling their property, and I get that. And
sure.
To see such amazing photos caught from deer cams, it's just, wow. You know, it's just, why can't this come out? Oh, we got to get a body, Ed.
I agree. And I'll tell you what, I truly believe that it's coming. You know, I really do. And I'm sure people have been saying that for decades. But I think we're starting to catch up. You know, number one, people who are out in the field now, and there's some people going out there and you know, using techniques, things like that I don't necessarily think is the right way to do it. But it's not for me to say they're doing it wrong. It goes back to that whole proof thing. You know, I can't say somebody else is wrong because I don't have the answers myself. You know, so but people are that are educated now. People are more aware, and it's probably due to those, you know, what I call the Bigfoot police who are attacking people and things like that, because nobody wants to share stuff anymore. You know, so the stuff that is coming out is better. You know, does that make sense?
No, it absolutely makes sense. You know, at the end of the day, when it comes to Bigfoot, because there's no proof, it's all stories. A friend of mine He does Sasquatch Chronicles, Wes Skirmer. And he told me about his story, what happened with him and his brother, and why they started Sasquatch Chronicles, and how they were scared for their lives, et cetera, et cetera. I'm sure your listeners, and I'm sure you're aware of their story.
Right.
And I told him, well, Wes, at the end of the day, it's still a story. And he goes, ouch. I'm like, it's still a story. It's not proof. It's your story. Just like, Justin Samea. It's a story. There's no proof. You can't expect people to take what you're saying to be true just based on your word. It's like, right. Who are you? I wouldn't want people to, if I could say, hey, I saw Bigfoot holding hands with Ed Brown. I would never expect people to believe me just because of my word. It's crazy. And there's people that believe the word of complete strangers because they want Bigfoot to be real so bad, and at the end of the day, even Stacey Brown's Fleer, it's still a story.
Sure.
There's no proof. The best evidence so far for a Bigfoot is the Patterson-Gimlin film, and yet there's that whole camp that says it's a hoax. I think it's real. And that debate will continue until we get a body. But until then, the Patterson-Gimlin film is the best piece of the puzzle. There's more to it than just the story.
I am convinced the PG film is 100% real, and that's just my opinion. And but yeah, I think that's a great example.
But then there's all those things that fall into it. Oh well, Roger Patterson intended to go out to film something. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. He intended to make money off it. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I make money off my Bigfoot videos on YouTube, After Hours and Bigfoot Nation and Off the Rictor. We have bills to pay.
Sure.
If I were to get a Bigfoot specimen and somehow make money off of it, absolutely. I'm not stupid,
Right.
Here's my book. Buy it. I'm going to go to your conference and have a speaking engagement. Pay me. Absolutely. Dr. Meldrum is smart. He is paid to go to all these places. He is smart.
I agree.
And he's got the intelligence to back it up. There's nothing wrong with making money off of Bigfoot. However, when you're hoaxing and lying, that's where it's wrong.
Sure.
That's okay. But then, the Rick Dyer's the carnival barker. He's a P.T. Barnum. Still, people are buying his stuff hook, line, and sinker, and he is making a profit and making a lot of money off of it. And is it wrong in the interest of capital gains? No, it's not, because our country's based on, that kind of an economy. But as Bigfoot researchers, we point the finger. That's wrong. You're making money off of lying and hoaxing, and you're hurting the community. No, it's short, so we have enough.
It really is. And I think more people, and just follow me here when I say this, if more people would just pay more attention to what they're doing and less attention to what everybody else is doing, then here's what's going to happen. Number one, there'll be more hoaxing. There'll be more of that stuff coming out. Absolutely. And I understand that. But you have to be intelligent enough to pick and choose what makes sense and what doesn't,
Mm-hmm.
So, but beyond that, what else is going to happen is people with photos like we were talking about a moment ago, people with those photos are not going to feel so intimidated. So maybe they will come out, And then those are the ones that we need to see. But we're not, because they're afraid to show them because of the ridicule. Look, ask yourself this. If somebody in the Bigfoot community gets ridiculed for showing a picture, what do you think they're going to do to somebody who's not in the Bigfoot community?
Oh, right.
so why would they come forward? I don't blame them for not coming forward. Even if they have, I don't care if they have a body and they're dragging it by the arm. I'm like, I think I'll just bury it. I don't blame them. I wish they would. I wish they would come forward. But I understand what they're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. What is it when a nun, was it when a nun doesn't accept any money, lives just basically, what is that called when a nun does that? Swears off any financial gains. What's that called? God, Dan, you can edit this part out, my mind. Okay, because I'm not a nun, and Rick Dyer's not a nun, and Cliff Barackman and Matt Moneymaker, we're not nuns. We I have a YouTube channel I make money off of. Sean Evidence makes money off of Bigfoot Evidence. Matt Moneymaker makes money off of his BFRO expeditions. We did not sign off on a life of, what's it called? What is it? None, when they sign off, it's a life of, God, I'm going to go look this shit up. If I can be really smart on your show.
Yeah, well, I'm not Catholic.
I know, it's a sign. Servitude? Is it is a life of, oh gosh, what is it? Oh, I'm not Catholic either.
But I think I understand your gist, though. I mean, whatever the correct terminology.
Yeah, we are not a non-profit organization.
Right.
You know.
Well, sure, and we don't make, Dan and I don't make any money with what we're doing right now. We don't make any money with this. But eventually, if a situation arises where we can, be able to pay a couple bills and still do what we love to do, then I have no doubt that we would also partake in that.
Okay, so we have not signed off on a life of living under poverty or chastity. There we go. So we all have a different. We all make our money in different ways.
Sure. And I agree. I mean, you take Dr. Meldon, for example. I've had the privilege of having him on the show as well. Great guy. He was fun to talk to. We actually had a great conversation. It was fun. But I don't blame him for charging to go to do a speaking thing. I mean, that's his time. And technically you're buying his knowledge. You're purchasing something he has, which is knowledge. So why not?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Rictor, we've definitely done a big roundabout in the conversation. So let's just kind of move forward a little bit. Let's talk about your new show, Off the RoR. Now, you just brought it out. By the time this comes out, it'll be a few days ago, and it's getting some interesting reviews. Tell us a little about the show. What's it about?
Well, Off the RoR is total parody. It's making fun of all these videos that Bigfooters put on YouTube saying, this is my opinion, this is why, or this is a footprint, or this is a Bigfoot. Yeah, you're all fair game because it's not Bigfoot. Sorry. You know what I mean? I would never make fun of the Patterson-Gimlin film because to me, I think that's Bigfoot. But, when you have...
Why not, though? I mean, why not? If it's a parody show, and I hope that everybody sees it that way. I really do, because I watched it. I thought it was funny. I laughed. But if it's a parody show, why not make fun of the Patterson-Gimlin film, too? Because if you...
here's the Patterson-Gimlin film. You've got two cowboys. Okay, we can go there if you want. You got two... the original Brokeback
There you go. See? You have an angle now.
The original Brokeback Mountain, not Brokeback Bounty. The original Brokeback Mountain, two cowboys. Two cowboys going out, and they find Patty, and they find a woman with big breasts, and they stumble and fall and chase after it. Okay, be done in 2 seconds. I need more than 2 seconds. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'd probably really anger quite a few people if I were to, be making gay jokes about the Patterson-Gimlin stuff. And God bless Roger Patterson's soul. What's that?
I guess my point is this: if you were only making fun of the ones that you personally believe are fictitious or not what
or silly,
then you're basically, when you do it, everybody knows that those particular videos are ones that you think are lying, or you think they're mistaken, or you think, why not do it to any video, and maybe not the PG film. I mean, you're right. I mean, that is kind of iconic, but I'm sure there's some other video out there that well,
let's see. In episode 1, I poke fun at Dr. Johnson because he's holding a stuffed animal, Bouncy the bunny, talking to it while talking about cloaking. Okay, perfect example to poke fun of. You've got Stacey Brown talking about a Bigfoot buffet, and Tim Pisano falling over themselves over, their footprints in mud. It's not Bigfoot. Someone's footprints. Come on, you know what I mean?
I'm with you.
And then Rick Dyer, of course, every video he makes, it's is subject to scrutiny and parody and satire and spoofing. So see the difference?
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course. And I mean, some videos are, I guess, easy targets. And I guess...
Let's back up. Off the Rictor makes fun of Bigfoot personalities. How's that? There's no personalities in the Patterson Gimlin film or the Freeman footage. However, there's personalities when it comes to Dr. Johnson or Michael Merchant or Stacey Brown, Tim Pisano, Rick Dyer, the list goes on. Those are Bigfoot personalities, and that's what I make fun of.
See, now that is an acceptable answer.
Well, thank you.
It's not the video you're making fun of, it's the people.
There you go. Thank you for explaining this.
And I'll be honest, I watched the video. I laughed. I thought it was funny. And, Rick Dyer, when I talked to Rick, it was kind of more of a serious conversation. And I saw your interview with him, by the way, and I thought that was really good of you to have him on, by the way. I think that was an excellent decision.
Yeah, I don't want to be a hypocrite. I can't. He's this, he's that. Well, why is he that? Well, bring him on and let's talk to him. I dragged my feet. Tammy, my co-host Tammy, was the advocate for getting Rick Dyer on the show. She's like, Ricky, you have to have him on. You have to have him on. It's the right thing to do. And I was just dragging my feet. It took me 2 weeks to finally okay, you're right. I might come to the party late, but I do come to the party. And I do not, people say, oh, Rictor, you jumped the shark. Like, what the hell? It's my show. You guys aren't paying my bills. I'm still getting hits.
I love that phrase, though.
I went from Rick Dyer to Les Stroud. Bitch, you're saying I jumped the shark? Fuck, I made the shark. I like those apples.
Yeah.
Don't see Les Stroud on anybody else's show.
No, I haven't had the opportunity yet. So that was a good one. I was impressed. So back on topic, so basically you're making fun of the personalities, and I should really rephrase that. You're not really making fun of them. You're having fun at their expense, and I hope people that way.
And at my expense too, because I turn up the gay bar and I make jokes about me.
Yes.
Bigfoot cannot be taken seriously all the damn time. It cannot. It's Bigfoot. The entire world thinks we're insane, thinks we're stupid. They laugh at us because we think Bigfoot's real.
Right.
And why can't we laugh at ourselves too? People get so caught up in this. It's like their religion. It's their hobby, and it's their financial, income, and it's everything to these people. And yet, why can't we laugh at it? It deserves to be laughed at. It's Bigfoot.
Sure. Man, and I guess I think it's okay to have a little fun and poke fun at people and their stuffed animals, if you will. I think it's okay. I just hope that they see it that way too. That it's not I guess I didn't see it as an attack as more. No,
it's not. It's never meant to be an attack. If it was meant to be an attack, this would be an attack. Let's say I'm ripping on the Ed Brown video. Okay, this would be an attack. This would be
good luck with that. You'll really lose your base in.
Okay, Ed Brown, this guy. Sit down with Ed Brown. What kind of a fucking stupid name is sit down with Ed Brown? I think about taking a bowel movement whenever I hear sit down. That would be an attack. That would be mean. Now, off the Rictor,
the first one to use that analogy, though, just so you know.
Now, then the flip side would be here be off the Rictor. Okay, sit down with Ed Brown. Maybe I could lie down with Ed Brown. See, there's a difference. You see, it's
sure.
It's all about delusion.
I'll go and give you permission now. You can make fun of me all you want. I will understand it as a joke, and I'll laugh about it, I'm sure. So,
lay down with Ed Brown. Lay down with Ed Brown. Oh Lord, poor Debbie.
Poor Debbie. Yeah. She's
For those of you listening, Debbie is Ed's wife. Yes.
Yeah, she's my girlfriend. But yeah.
Oh, you're not married? You're not married.
No, I'm not married.
Oh, well then, hell, shit, I'll be hitting on you at beach.
No.
Married? Shit, there's no ring on your finger.
We've been together long enough that we should be married.
Well, get off your ass and propose to her. What's the matter with you? What are you waiting for?
Are you waiting realize now I cannot let her listen to this interview.
Debbie, I will be an advocate for you to get a ring on your finger, girl.
She's a great woman. She really is. She really is.
Yeah. We're totally digressing.
Yeah, but I digress.
but since we're digressing, I'll say, hi, Dan. He's like, oh, God, he totally got this homosexual on me. Get him off me.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm kidding, Dan. I'm not a big old perv. I'm not a perv. My bark is worse than my bite. I do have a funny story to tell you, though. It's kind of big.
Go ahead.
Wes Germer, Sasquatch Chronicles, I saw a picture of him and his brother. This is before I met them. And I'm like, wow, his brother's really hot. And so I was kind of joking around with Wes online. I'm like, hey, Wes, are you going to bring your brother to Bigtruth? He's like, yeah, he'll be coming. I'm like, right on, score. So we're all sitting around the fire, and I'm sitting next to Wes. And so I say to Wes, where's that hot brother of yours? He's like, he's sitting right next to you. And I look over at the guy to my left, and it's Woody Pratt. I didn't know he had sunglasses on, and I didn't recognize him from the photos. And so I look back at Wes. I'm like, that's not him. Your brother, the one with the really hot blue eyes. And then I look back over at Woody, and he takes his sunglasses off, and I see his blue eyes. And so immediately my foot goes in my mouth, and I'm like, so how you doing? I totally had to change my game. And from that point on, Wes kept trying to pimp out his brother to me the entire time we were at Beachfoot. It's so funny. Poor Woody. He was so nervous. It was so funny.
Well, I'll tell you, at that point, you pretty much, you're pretty much hit anyway. So.
Right. It's like my pants are down. It's like, oh, I hate having my foot on. It's like, oh.
But it fits so well.
Oh, nice.
Sorry, I couldn't resist that one. I was there. Yeah, definitely been an interesting show for all the listeners out there. I'm telling you guys, I really like my show to be conversational, and I think this one is probably the most conversational one I've ever had. Which is
really, why do you think that? Why?
Well, because I think that we actually share some things in common. You are the entertainer in the community. All right. Nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can. You entertain people. I think you're funny. And I know that there's people out there who are going to get upset. And at your Off the RoR show, people are going to get upset. People are going to be offended, and it's unfortunate because if you're having fun, people need to be able to laugh at themselves as well. But the fact that we can have a conversation as opposed to talking about sightings or talking about, your research and things of that nature, which the show is generally about. The fact that we were just having a conversation, I think, is why.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's good to have discussion and, to elaborate on each other's thoughts. Fortunately, on the internet, you can't do that with people.
Yeah, I noticed. Now, but I will say, though, that, we don't share, our ideology is not the same. We do differ on a lot of opinions, and that's okay. I don't mind that you don't agree with me. I don't mind that, that you may not believe some of the things I believe, but we can sit down, adults, and we can have a civil conversation without, attacking each other or getting mad and throwing things. To me, that stuff is just senseless. And I've been drawn into that. I've been drawn into those long debates, and I actually kind of embarrassed about it. But yeah, but everybody does, So.
Well, Ed, we're all learning, and we are all really new to the internet thing. The internet's really only been in our lives for just really over, 18, 19 years. And, it's each decade, it's getting bigger and bigger with how it's taking over our lives. Look at our telephones, our cell phones, smartphones. We're constantly connected. So if someone was to attack you on Facebook, you get it immediately on your phone if your phone's connected to your Facebook account. It's instant. And our lives weren't like that 15, 20 years ago.
You're exactly right.
We had America Online. We had to wait for that stupid modem for your welcome. You've got mail. So you had to actually wait now everything's different. So the internet is definitely changing Bigfooting. I don't know if it's for the better, because there's more photos with circles, red circles, and it's definitely keeping Sasquatchery alive, possibly at real research detriment, those that are out for weeks at a time. Anybody can be a Bigfoot researcher. There are those that are, more experienced at the outdoors. I'm not experienced. I'm learning still. I believe there's people out there that have been out there for years and they're still learning on how to improve their skill set. So
that's an interesting question. I mean, do you have any plans to go back out? I mean, is there anything coming up for you?
Oh yeah. I would have been out sooner, but my father was ailing and he passed away in February, so that kind of put everything on hold.
Let me say, I give you my condolences and
thank you
and your family have my prayers. I lost my mother in July, so I know.
Yeah, and it kind of puts everything on a halt, freeze.
It does.
So
our show was off the air for 3 months, and
right. And I was going to go to Sasquatch Summit in Washington, but because of what was going on here at the house, I couldn't go. So, now that my dad has moved on, I'm able to move on. And so planning on going back up to the Sierras, to the exact location where I got the shit scared out of me. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And my research buddy, Teresa, she's really great with the FLIR, even though she didn't record the FLIR footage. That would have been amazing to have seen, but was scaring her. But nonetheless, definitely plan on going back out and doing stuff. And Beachfoot, we'll have fun in Beachfoot. Maybe we can go out in Beachfoot, Ed.
Absolutely. Definitely. I mean, I'm actually looking really forward to that event. And to me, what I'm looking forward to most is sitting around a campfire with some of these people who are going, and I'm not even sure we're allowed to mention who will be there, who won't, or I'm not even sure we're allowed to talk about it, but I'm looking forward to sitting around the fireplace, or the campfire with these people and just listen to their experience and what they've been through and what their stories are. I mean, to me, that's just going to be unreal. Just really looking forward to that.
Well, I got to say, since we're on the Beachfoot subject, Tammy and I took it as medicine, because we took quite a few lashings because of the breakup of Team Taser and personal differences with other people in the group, Bigfoot Bounty, me getting on the show and people being butthurt that they didn't make it on the show and coming after me, and just stupid petty Bigfoot drama. Beachfoot was medicine. It was great. It was very healing. It was like summer camp for Bigfooters.
Right.
That's exactly what it is. It's good to get away from the internet and to be with other people that share the same passion and enjoyment of Sasquatch as we do. So we're going to love it.
And I got to tell you, I'm glad you made it on $10 million Bigfoot Bounty, because anybody else falling in that creek would not have been nearly as funny.
But what was interesting? I got to say this. Everyone tried out for the show. Everybody thought they were going to be on the show. And then they trashed it afterward when they were rejected and or didn't make it. And then they attacked the show. It's like, really? That's wow. You wanted to be on the show more than life itself, and yet now you're attacking it? I don't understand it. Where's the congratulations? I'm glad you made it. Yay, bravo. There's no support. The Bigfoot community will support you to a point, and then they will trash and tear you down the next.
Sure.
So that's just the nature with everything and anything. Look at the tabloids, Ed. You go to the supermarket, Britney Spears, brave last days. And then the next week, Britney Spears' new look. You know what I mean? It's just oh my gosh. It's like up and down. They want to attack Bruce Jenner before he came out of the closet as a transsexual, and now Bruce Jenner's brave new life. Bruce Jenner's new direction in life as a woman. You know what I mean? It's just human nature how they spin things.
Sure.
Like when I got a taste of that when I had Rick Dyer on After Hours. I didn't care. I wasn't doing this Rick Dyer on my show for public opinion. I did it for the merit of my show. It was the right thing to do.
Sure.
And the right thing to do is to have Todd Standing come on my show, because I have spanked that bitch on After Hours, especially at Survivor Man with Les Stroud. So, I have to come clean and apologize to Todd Standing for giving him his lashings. I doubt he'd ever come on my show. I've even reached out to Dr. Melva Ketchum. I've apologized to her for teasing her and having fun, poking fun at her, and she's never responded to me in kind. So whatever, I tried. David Paulides with his Bigfoot books, Missing 411. He's angry with me with the way I've drawn him. He doesn't have a sense of humor. He doesn't find humor in my artwork, and he's not fond of me. I've tried buying his books from him, and he refunded my money. So, okay, well, that's on you then, because I've tried. I've even reached out to him and apologized for my snarky behavior, and that, didn't get a response in kind. So, okay, well, that's on you then. I tried. That's all you can do, so.
Well,
egos.
I think you're right.
A lot of egos. There's a lot of.
I don't know that I would classify every one of those examples as egos. I guess I don't know all the stories behind all those events, and unfortunately, this show doesn't have enough time to discuss all that. But I will say that, David Paulides, I've never had the opportunity to talk to him, but he is somebody that I respect. Everything that I've heard about him personally has all been good. So I do want to mention that. Todd Standing.
Don't draw him. Whatever you do, don't draw him. Especially drawing him in his underwear. Don't draw him in his underwear. He won't like that.
Well, fortunately for everybody, I can't draw, so I have no artistic ability whatsoever. I am one of those Bigfooters who cannot play music, and I cannot draw, and I know that puts me in a really bad minority, but no, those are not my talents. But, well, Rictor, I'm going to tell you what, man, every show I give the guests an opportunity at the end of the show to close the show out with, anything you want to talk about, maybe something we missed, maybe something you wanted to discuss that maybe I forgot. The floor is yours.
Okay, well, I want to give some advice to those of you out there in Bigfootdom that want to make a name for yourself, grow a thick skin. People are going to trash you and attack you and make fun of you, and making fun is fine, but when it gets too personal, you just got to block and move on. Don't let it get you down. Also, Ed, the bigger picture, Twitter. Bigfoot people are so busy posting and fighting on Facebook. Twitter is the world. And my Twitter account has exploded. I've now beat Cliff Barrickman and Renee Holland from Finding Bigfoot with my Twitter account. And Twitter is power. It's social authority. The more Twitter followers you have, the more audience of an outreach you have. And that being said, since I have a YouTube channel and I make money off my YouTube videos, when I post my links to my channel on Twitter, boom, I draw people in. It's extremely powerful. And the Bigfoot world, I don't know if they have the intelligence or the endurance to grasp it, but Twitter is amazing, and it's been my playground. And my next target to take out is Matt Moneymaker. I'm just 5,000 Twitter followers away from reaching his status. And then Bobo is at 32,000, I believe. And then I'll pass him. So, Twitter is everything. I've tried explaining this to Shannon Legro. If you're in Bigfoot media, you have to get on Twitter. You have to turn off Facebook. You have to. And Bigfooters cannot seem to do that because they're so self-involved and self-absorbed with what they're trying to force upon others. You know what I mean? I don't know how that's including trolling, that's including sharing opinions, being a part of a clique, whatever. If that's your target, if that's what you want to do, go ahead. But here's an example, Ed, since you gave me the forum.
Sure.
Sarah Brown and her husband, John Brown. They were a little butt sore that Matt Moneymaker made a few comments about that footage of theirs that is an alleged Sasquatch. And Matt Moneymaker said something on Twitter that it's two resting crows, whatever it is. And whatever it was. It wasn't a Bigfoot. John and Sarah were butthurt, and they were posting about it on Facebook. And it's like preaching to the choir. And I told Sarah, Matt Moneymaker's on Twitter. Use that to your advantage. Make a video explaining how he's wrong and make it professional and make it as a list and put it out there on Twitter. Because Matt Moneymaker does not exist on Facebook. Your clique does. You have to leave your comfort zone and step forward into the cold world that's out there if you're going to go to war head-to-head with the big shots. Matt Moneymaker is a big shot. So if he were to, point me out and say, Rictor's this and Rictor's that, I got quite a big Twitter following to go right back after him. But I wouldn't do that. I would be professional. I'd be like, well, this is where Matt Moneymaker is wrong. Bump-a-dump-a-dump-a-dump, boom. I wouldn't be worried about my Ed Brown Facebook clique group. I would be worried about the world. Because as public figures, which we are, Ed, we are public figures. We're exposing ourselves to the entire world. So do you want to stay in the sandbox of the Bigfoot community, or do you want to be on the bigger playground, which is the global community? And that's where I put myself, is in the global community. So I try to explain this to people, Shannon and Sarah Brown, Twitter, but it just goes through one ear and out the other and falls on deaf ears. And I'm not being mean. It's just the truth.
Sure. So go ahead and what is your Twitter account? How would somebody find that? If somebody wanted to go in.
It would be at Rictor_Riolo. Riolo at Brown. Riolo. RIOLO at Brown.
I gotta tell you, I couldn't resist that because of your comment on your Off the RoR that you posted just recently, and that was when you said nobody can say my name right. I had to do it.
Right? Well, you're lucky. You got Ed Brown. You're Ed Brown. Whoever can't get your name right, socially mapped.
Yeah, mine's pretty simple.
Okay, so what I just said about Twitter, Ed, you're going to get on Twitter, and you're going to really work it.
We actually have a Twitter account, just so you know.
Where is it? What's going on with it?
I have no excuse.
See?
But,
See?
It is there. I guess I just didn't give it a chance yet. So there's definitely some learning to do. And you're right. And I was thinking this when you were saying that. I was like, yeah, I need to do that. I need to get that going. So yeah. So I'm with you on that.
You just can't have Facebook, and you just can't have YouTube. You have to use and utilize everything that's out there. Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, they're all integrated. They're all working together, and there's different audiences with each one of those social venues. So here's the best thing, though, Ed. Twitter is less invasive as Facebook. You only have 140 characters to express yourself or what you're trying to sling or throw out there to the world. So there's no great prolific epistles. It's just 140 characters that say, hey, check out, sit down with Ed Brown with Bigfoot Bounty's Rictor. Here's the link. Boom. That's it.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and give you my statistics on my Twitter real quick, right? Because I just pulled it up.
Okay, what's your account? You got to broadcast your account. What is it?
Well, it's Ed Brown at Ed Brown Bigtruth.
Ed Brown what? Ed Brown what?
Bigtruth. Ed Brown Bigtruth, one word.
Big. I like the word big. I do. All right, checking you out. All right, so Ed Brown, I am following you. So now you have 2 followers, and you're following 3 people.
See,
you're following.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
you're
right.
Following YouTube, Life, and New York Times photos. You have a lot of work to do. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to follow every single Bigfoot paranormal group, magazine, whichever that's on Twitter, and you're going to engage with them, and you're going to post your links, and then you're going to ask them to share and retweet your links to their audiences, and your followers are going to grow exponentially. That's your beginning. That's what you're going to do. You're not going to get 1,000 followers overnight, but
sure.
50. You can, through hard work, get 50 to 100 in one day easily.
Okay. And I'm going to throw this out there. I'm going to tell my listeners, go to Ed Brown at Ed Brown Bigtruth and start following me, and I promise you, I will start putting out some content.
You know, you never know who's listening or watching your programs.
See, that's almost scary. I mean,
and that's the thing, Ed. You don't want to take that for granted. If you all of a sudden had a bunch of people in Hungary or Turkey or Japan, you know, following you, you have a tremendous Japanese market following. Sit down with Ed Brown. Don't take that for granted. Work it. Get more of those followers. I have lots of people in England, of all people, following me on YouTube because of my Bigfoot stuff. Australia, you know, it's okay, cool. Yeah, okay, well, tell me. What do you got? You got something called a yowie? Tell me about it. What, you got some kind of grassland monster in England or what, UK? Okay, well, tell me about it. You know, I don't believe in closing doors. And another thing, Ed, if you're never picked as the first choice, never take it personal. And if someone gives you an opportunity and you're not their first choice, take it. You know, look at Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers made a career of not being the number one choice. She was always we could always get Joan Rivers. We could always get her to do it. You know, so never say no. And you got to, and I've had to do this too, you got to keep your ego in check. It's not just with Bigfoot, but, you know, you just got to be like, you know, for instance, let's give you an example. Bigfoot Bounty. I thought for sure I had it locked that I was going to be on the show. But then my original partner, Bill Brock, he quit on me the day we were to fly to L.A. So I had no partner, and I was off the show. I could not meet the producers, and I did not get to go to L.A. to meet them. I fought to get on that show. I had to, like, swallow my pride and get on my knees and work it the best I got. I have to send you the video that I sent. I sent a video.
I'd love to do that. I really would.
and I had to, like, you know, if you want something hard enough and bad enough, you have to go for it and put yourself in check. Even if it makes you look bad. If you get it, it doesn't matter. You got it. You know what I mean? So
sure.
That is my long-winded discussion to the Bigfoot world, is to put yourself in check and go for it and never say no, and don't close doors. Don't close doors.
I think that's some excellent advice, and I'll tell you what. After we're done here, it doesn't have to be today, but at some point, I would like to actually talk to you and maybe take some of your advice, and maybe you can teach me how to tweet, because I absolutely know nothing about it. I get a tweet on my phone,
sure.
And I'll be like, I don't even know what the hell I'm looking at. You know, I'm going, what? I don't understand this. You know, so I guess I could use some tutorage, if you will.
And thank you very much, Ed and Dan, for giving me this opportunity to talk and let the hair down, so to speak.
Well, like you know, I do think that you know, everybody deserves to be heard. You know, one way or the other. Like you said with Rick, for example. Although it's a totally different situation where we're not like at odds with each other, but I think that I do think that you took kind of not a big hit at all, but you know, you posted some of those comments that you were getting. It was like, you know, you have the right to have an opportunity to say, I was just joking around. You know, it wasn't serious. I wasn't attacking anybody. I was having fun with people. You know, you have the right to do that, and that's what I wanted to do. So I'm glad we were able to.
Cool. Right on. It's been a lot of fun talking to you.
So anyway, appreciate the advice on the Twitter, and I think those were some great words there of wisdom at the end. Well, Rictor, listen, man, I appreciate you taking the time to come on the show today, spending a little time and talking about your experiences as well as your experience on the falling in the creek. And with that, we are out.